You're a university employee, part of the university plan. One of the first things you probably did or should have done is set your beneficiaries. So today, I'm going to be talking more about beneficiaries and what you should be thinking about and all the ins and outs. Beneficiary types. Let's talk about the basics of beneficiary listings and the two main types of beneficiaries. First, you have primary beneficiaries. Think of this as first in line. So if something were to happen to you, this is where the money should flow at your passing. Now the second type is contingent. This is if something should happen to the primary beneficiaries, this is where the money would then flow after that. Now, a big thing to think about when it comes to beneficiary listings, whether it's primary or contingent, you want to be able to choose how much goes to each person, organization, or wherever the money should flow. Just know it doesn't have to get split evenly. You can designate a percentage of how much you want to go to each beneficiary, whether it's primary or whether it's contingent. After designating a percentage, just know who you choose is up to you to receive your assets. Now, the big thing to think about is you can choose a person, an entity, a charity. You've got lots of options. So make sure that you choose wisely when it comes to your beneficiaries. Next, let's talk about pro rata and per stirpes. Here, we're talking a little bit more in depth about the types and flow of money through the beneficiaries. We already know about primary versus contingent. Here, there's an extra election where you choose the flow through the primary and contingents of money. Should something happen if a beneficiary predeceases you as the account owner? Let me give you a little example. If you have children that are listed as your primary beneficiaries, and they have children of their own, here you may have listed your two children as your primary beneficiaries. Now, should something happen and one of those child predeceases you, in a pro rata situation, that portion or that percentage that got designated to that child would then get converted over to the other remaining and living primary beneficiary. So now they would have 100%. What could happen, and a mistake I see very often, is what's called accidental disinheritance. So if that child that predeceased you had children of their own, you could, with pro rata, be accidentally disinheriting that grandchild. So that leads me to talking about per stirpes. Here, in that situation, everything being the same, the flow of money would stay within that bloodline. So if your child predeceased you at your passing, just know that their ownership interest as a beneficiary would then flow to their children, thus not accidentally disinheriting that grandchild. So when you think about this per stirpes versus pro rata, make sure you're choosing what's best for your situation with the university plan. Quick pro tip, just know the University of Michigan plan will default to pro rata. So if this isn't your intention, make sure when you're electing your beneficiaries, you're checking that box for per stirpes. This way your money would stay within that bloodline and again, avoid that accidental disinheritance. Now that we've covered the basics about beneficiaries and your university plan, let's talk about some of the extra things that pop up along the way. Things like new accounts. Have you become eligible for the university match and a new account opened for you? Maybe you've taken advantage of some of the supplemental plans at the university. Other things like life events happen. You got married, maybe divorced, had children. These are all triggering events, whether they're new accounts or life events along the way, that should have you thinking about and revisiting your beneficiary listing. Just know, a special note with new accounts, the default would be the estate of. So here, what happens is if you don't elect a new beneficiary listing for your new account, it will default to your estate. Now just know, Here with the University of Michigan, you have plan hierarchy as it's called, which means the default would then go to your spouse. Should you not have a spouse, it would default to your children. After that, your parents or your siblings. Now, in some cases, you'll want to make sure that you're looking at these beneficiary listings and making sure that you have what you want listed so you avoid this step of the estate designation. So an important note here, just know whether you're utilizing Fidelity or TIAA for your university plan, both of them look at each account separately. So it's important that you're listing beneficiaries for each one of the accounts. I'm talking the 403B base plan, the 401A, and all of those supplemental accounts. You can very easily overlook one of them thinking electing your beneficiaries once will give you across the board coverage. So just make sure you take a closer look. Now that you know the basics about beneficiary listings in your university plan, just know you can update your beneficiary anytime you like. It's a pretty easy process. You can go online through the portal and update it as often as you would like, or at a triggering event. Just know it's up to you and you can choose what you want when you want. If you find yourself with questions or maybe you want some help through the process, reach out to me. I'm happy to help.